I'm really intrigued by this Facebook Live thing. I think we're going to talk a lot about video today. Facebook launched, and again, I don't know if this is only on my app, so you guys can confirm this. My app has changed a lot. This is the Facebook app, and this is, you'll like this, Luria. Now, in addition to news feed and people, there's a new video button that if I touch that, it shows video. Facebook is all in. Wow, look at that. You're right there.
I was doing one earlier this morning. How about that?
Facebook is all in on video to the point where they're surfacing it as an equal to the news feed.
Yeah, well, Mark Zuckerberg came out recently and said, I mean, at the F8 conference, he was talking about how important live video is to them. And they're freaking killing it in the live streaming space. You know, Leo, you've been doing live streaming for years. You do it kind of on a more
I'm going to buy a full-page ad in the New York Times that says, "Welcome, Facebook." Seriously.
But with mobile live streaming, I mean, they're really doing a whole lot in that space. And so we wanted to make sure that we were kind of in that and killing it in that space as well. So we figured out how to use Livestream HD 550 Studio Box.
So that's my question, because I know how to do this because, you know, it has a go live button right here, and I can just go live from my phone. And that's actually interesting because that's also been around in this, but it was a little harder to find. If you wanted to post to Facebook, you'd have to tap what's on your mind and then scroll down, and then you'd see the go live. In fact, for a while, I didn't even think this was in the Facebook for Android version, but now
that just was released like 2 days ago.
Yeah, but now, and they've really, because of this video button. And so everybody has this video button now. You have it, Jason?
No.
Not on iOS yet.
They're rolling it out, I believe. I think they announced it a few weeks ago, right before F8. So
and then
probably slow rollout.
Tell me, Kirk, if you have this, because on the bottom of my Facebook, this is new too, I have categories. So I have news feed, but I also have world and U.S. news, funny. There's a whole bunch of subject matter, and I can even turn it on or off with the settings button. I'm thinking I must be in some sort of beta test of this. Sorry, it's so bright. I should turn my screen brightness down.
I think you're getting this not necessarily something that's totally new. I know that people have written about that a few months ago, but at the same time, I don't have that.
Yeah,
a lot of people I've seen have not had it, so I do think you're one of the lucky few. They somehow picked you.
I don't know if I feel so lucky.
Test all of these things.
It's interesting though, because what it really tells me, both this scroll bar at the bottom and the new video category at the top, is that Facebook wants to be a media company, not a social network. Right, Kurt? Is that fair to say?
I think that they want to do a lot of stuff. And if you were at F8, you could see that ultimately the one thing I will give Facebook is that they really stay true to that mission, which is about connecting people. And it sounds a little corny, it sounds a little cliche, but everything that they do, right? I mean, the fact that they're trying to set up Wi-Fi enabled cities, they're going to test something in San Jose, California around that. The fact that they have internet beaming drones, you know, it's all about getting people onto the internet and therefore, you know, connecting them with the different apps that they have. I think the way that they keep you coming back is through the media and entertainment part of it, right? Because I'm only going to log on to Facebook if I'm exchanging a message or if I have a comment on something that I posted. But the reason I open the app every single day, even when I don't have those things happening, is because there's great videos and there's great stories and all these other things that I read. So I don't know if they would describe themselves as a media company, but I could, you know, they've married media and communication in a way that I don't think anyone else has really done. I think Snapchat's trying to do it, but that's about it.
And I'll add on to that, Kurt. That's a very good point. But because of their ad platform and how prominent that is and how much money they make off of it, you know, that's a big deal for them. They have to keep that attention coming back over and over and over in order to make sure that people continue to have effectiveness with those ads. And of course, they're putting so much effort into people who use that. Like, you almost can't necessarily be effective if you don't use it, which is kind of a negative.
Right.
But if you have high engagement, you can kind of get over that. So, you know, I saw somebody in the chat room, I'm sorry, I missed your name a minute ago, who said, you know, they're focusing on celebrities. And they always start with celebrities. Then they always kind of roll it out to the masses.
Facebook Live is for everybody now. It's not just for less celebrities.
Well, they're paying. They're paying those.
But they are paying some people.
They're paying
Right.
celebrities, and they're paying some media partners too. So, that's something that, as far as I know, Twitter and Periscope have never been willing to do. And I think you're gonna assume certain things. Okay, Facebook's now paying for this. Eventually, they're gonna want to pull that back and figure out another way, because you can't afford to pay people for content forever. But at the same time, I mean, look at you look at all the people who are broadcasting on Facebook Live in the last 3 months. I mean, it wasn't even a thing. Basically, we didn't even talk about this at the turn of the year, January 1st. Now every single publisher and every single media property around is going live on a regular basis. So it's working. The problem is like, okay, now can they transition from, hey, we've been paying you all along, to we want you to do this, because you want to do it, not because we're giving you money. And so they're going to have to figure out a way to monetize it in a way that that's keeps that incentive high.
Facebook's not paying you, Callie, right? This is a platform for you. But I wonder, do you worry about going all in as you have on Facebook? Because it's not. So I mean, it's
that's a
not your platform.
Point. Right, exactly. You never want to go all in on somebody else's platform.
It's just risky.
It is risky. I mean, you can if you have a strategy behind you to get people on to your own platform, right? So, and that's the way we use it.
So you're using it as a way to promote what you're doing elsewhere.
Not fully. I mean, yes. So we have that strategy in place, and we always drive traffic to our own properties. So from a business perspective, you have to think about that kind of thing. From a content perspective, you don't get our content live unless you are there live on Facebook. We do release that content later.
Well, it stays on Facebook, right? I mean, people can now see it. If you're in my feed, I missed the first show, but I could see it because it's in my feed. Jason, would you? Right. You're a content creator as much as anybody. Would you consider creating a Facebook-specific show live on Facebook?
I think you have to consider the power of Facebook and its ability to reach an audience. But at the same time, I mean, I also think a lot of video producers are already dealing with a major platform that is taking up a lot of their oxygen, which is YouTube, right?
But it's different because YouTube, you create a show and then you put it on YouTube. YouTube is a distribution medium for you. Facebook, this is why I might disagree with you, Kurt. I think Facebook does want to be a media company. I understand that their business is broader than that, but when you see them paying people, I think they want to incent people to. They want to be the place you go for information, for entertainment, for everything.
They want to be the platform for internet content for all their users.
And in fact, we know most people now get their news on Facebook. So don't you think maybe there's some, why, you said a couple of things that were provocative, I thought, Kurt. One is that Facebook can't keep paying them. Why not?
I just don't think that it's sustainable. I think
they got lots of money, don't they?
Sure, I guess perhaps sustainable is wrong. You're right. I mean, they could continue to pay. I don't think it's good business. So I think what they're going to be inspired to do or driven to do is say, okay, now that you've gotten on the platform, you're comfortable with how this works. You've seen the audience that we can drive because we're Facebook. And we should talk about the algorithm too, because that's a whole nother thing that I think Facebook has. YouTube does some of that, but I think this is Facebook's bread and butter, right? Is that they can basically show you what they want to show you. So let's set that aside for a second. But you get these, publishers comfortable going live on Facebook, and then you say, all right, how can we both make money here so that we're not losing money on this content, project, if you will. And
they've already said that they're going to start paying producers for that content, but it's not rolled out
yet. That's what they're doing now. But I think
but revenue split for all users as opposed to just paying celebrities. You know what I mean?
Well, revenue split's different. So we're going to that's what YouTube does, right? We're going to put ads on it, and you get some of that money, and we'll get the rest of it.
And I think that's what Facebook will ultimately.
That's what they want to do too.
End up doing. Yeah, they haven't.
That's okay. So that might be the distinction between a media company and a social media company, because if you're CBS, you pay people to make content to put on CBS that you could put ads around. And you couldn't. CBS can't go to Louis C.K. and say, hey, "We'll do a rev share with you. We'll put some ads on there, and we'll give you 5%." That's not how it works. Is that I mean, is it a media company if you do that? Is YouTube a media company? I don't know.
Yeah, we may be splitting hairs a little bit, or at least identifying how confusing this whole thing is. Yeah. But I think the slight or subtle difference that I think about is like traditionally Facebook has preached that it's a platform, right? It is not the one creating any of this. Yes, it may be at this point even paying CNN, but it is not coming out and saying we're going to create a new show.
They don't want to be Netflix. They don't want to create originals.
Right. I think they want to host as much great content as they can because that's where they can sell advertising. But I don't think that they want to be seen as, even though we all, again, the algorithm, they choose what we see. They don't want us to think that they choose what they, we see. They want us to think that everything in our newsfeed is there because it's tailored towards us and there's an almighty algorithm that picks this for us. But like, Facebook is in control of all that, and it's very easy to forget that they have essentially a say in what succeeds and what fails on Facebook. And right now they want live video to succeed, and that's why it's doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, I go to Facebook, and it's Mother's Day, right? So the bulk of my feed is moms, people with their moms, pictures. So it's very much still that social network. It's an interesting idea, though. Does Facebook see that is not compelling? And I mean,
they had a drop in shareability.
Well, that's right. People aren't sharing
last year. Yeah,
that's right.
So they saw a tremendous drop in how many people are sharing content and sharing photos and stuff. And so they're putting as far as I can tell, they're putting so much more effort into the kind of the 3D stuff and live video, and they've said as much as well.
So this is a response to people not sharing.
Exactly.
Facebook wants to be indispensable, right? And they built their business on, in large part, sort of selling ads against everybody's personal comments and their connections to their family and things like that. And it's like, where do you grow from there? And every news article and then the instant articles system that they've got now, every video that you might want to see, if it's all inside Facebook, then if you're a Facebook user, why go anywhere else? And then they control every single thing that you see. That's great for Facebook.
Okay, so here's a time now where Facebook would like to say we're a media company. Facebook is getting a lot of heat right now for, in effect, sponsoring the Republican National Convention. And there are even petitions going on, people saying, Google's doing it too, by the way. And Facebook's response to this is we're not supporting Donald Trump. We are a media company covering the convention. So now they want to be a media company, right?
When it's convenient.
Yeah.
When it's convenient. I think they want to be where the attention is because they make their money from advertising. Advertising needs eyeballs. They need focus and attention from people. And what better place than the Republican National Convention with Donald Trump front and center? They won't say that they're supporting any one particular candidate. That would be horrible for business for them, but they're going to try to be everywhere. And this is a big place for them to be, for sure.
Yeah, and of course, Zuckerberg at F8, the developers conference, took time from his keynote to, without naming Donald Trump, slam Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So
not so subtly.
Yeah, we want to build bridges, not walls, something like that, right?
Right. Yeah. Little dig.
Yet, there are a number of people who say Facebook and Google should not be pumping money into the Republican National Convention at this point. That's an interest. I mean, Google's response is, well, we're also covering the Democrats, as is Facebook. But Facebook's going to have a lounge at the Republican National Convention, and presumably they're paying money. Now, they're paying for, in effect, a sponsorship, as opposed to, say, CBS, which is going to put a camera crews and reporters there, but isn't paying money to be a sponsor of the Republican National Convention. So there's a difference. I mean, I'm just an old school media type, I guess, but probably
blurring of the lines for sure. I mean, you look at and let's go ahead and set the politics aside and just look at entertainment more broadly, right? I mean, I think Facebook did an exclusive partnership with HBO. I'm trying to think what it was for. It was recently. They did, they were sponsoring like some kind of HBO red carpet for maybe Game of Thrones or something like that. I asked at the time, and they told me, no, we're not paying for this. But I mean, those are the types of deals that they are everyone's leaning on one another. People want Facebook there because they're going to be able to reach so many more people. Facebook wants to be there because they want the content that is going to bring people to newsfeed. And so some of these are paid, some are just, handshake agreements, but it is becoming a very, again, confusing relationship, and it's hard to keep track of who's kind of the objective media versus the partnering media, and Facebook is right in the middle of it all.
I say when it comes to politics, why don't nobody cover it?
Yeah, let's all walk away.
And then all of our problems are solved.
Yeah, I wish. Twitter is doing the same thing. Twitter bought, not very expensively, and they didn't get an exclusive, Thursday Night Football. That was $1 million a game. It's bizarre because I could see maybe if it was in Facebook, I could see Facebook live streaming, but I don't know how it fits in Twitter at all. But I think Twitter kind of wants to be a media company too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're already putting, their periscopes into the feed itself. You can, see GIFs inside the feed. You're going to be able to watch that stuff inside a feed, embedded in your stream. Right. I mean, that's where they're going with that, I'm sure.
I think they need to build Periscope directly into the main app.
Oh, yeah. It's not integrated enough at all.
No, I think it's a missed opportunity at this point, right? I mean, to continue to, I think getting the streams in there is great. You're going to get more people to watch them, but I've been watching a live Periscope stream in my Twitter feed, and I've wanted to either jump in with even just like send a heart, the little like thing that they do, or comment or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden it's telling me to boot me over to the other app, and
then you're going to lose that content that happens within that time period that you have to hop on over. And then in the Periscope app, you can't click any of the links in their description. I mean, it's just not a.
Yeah, it needs to be fully integrated in my opinion. And I think they'll do that, right? I mean, I can't imagine they go hand in hand so well. Twitter's focus on like live being there, the first ones, live events, and Periscope literally being live. So I think it's just a matter of time, but I think that for now is my biggest beef with the live video stuff they're doing.
It does seem odd that you don't see Periscope in the moments section, at least, right? I mean, that's something. CNN would run these Periscopes if they had them. I don't know why
I think they're having for some reason they're having a hard time integrating all of that stuff because it was a company that they bought. It wasn't something they built from the ground up. But even the fact that you can have two different usernames between Twitter and Periscope. I'm still stuck with Callie Lewis, even though they just announced the fact that they have the ability to change your username now. But you can wind up with two usernames, which is stupid because it's the same freaking company.
And they own Vine too, right?
Yes.
Right.
There's another lost opportunity. Twitter seems to be full of lost opportunities. Is Facebook video a threat to Periscope?
Oh yeah.
Because the live stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a little more heavyweight, but you can. I mean, if you're sitting there with an iPhone or an Android device, you can start streaming live just as you would in Periscope from any event. I don't know if people are doing that. It's so funny because you could do everything you do in Snapchat probably in Facebook, but people don't do it. They Snapchat. It's funny. I think there is some sort of thing going on where you go, oh no, this is appropriate for this tool and this is appropriate for this tool.
I think what you're finding is that people will really just choose one of them, and that's all you really need anyway. But the two of them together, you're already seeing them push each other. Like Periscope just announced the fact that they are archiving their scopes. If you use the hashtag save within the description of when you go live, that was pushed partly by Facebook and partly by the fact that Catch, which was a third-party archiving service, went away because they lost funding. So but you're seeing them kind of go back and forth between feature sets trying to compete with each other, which is great for the world of live video because that means we're going to have awesome capabilities with live video, right?
Do you think it'll ever happen that people will tune in a show on Facebook, like go to Facebook to watch something?
That's what we're doing
Is that
with
where we're
Geeks
headed?
Life
That's
Daily.
You're
what they're
doing
doing
that.
now.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's Facebook Live. I'm
And
not
we've
sold.
got full on production. Sorry, Kurt, I didn't mean to
No, it's
just
fine.
finish that. Like we've got full on, just production like you do here on TWiT.
I think
we've
you're
got
one of the
cameras.
few people doing that, actually.
Well, yeah. But we wanted to be first. So
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm not fully sold that this is even. I'm not sold that live video is going to be a major thing in a year from now. And my concern around it is that I don't know if regular people, aka not brands, not media organizations, not people of influence, I don't think regular people have a lot of incentive to go live. And I also think that it's often boring to watch regular people go live.
It's boring to watch Ricky Gervais go live.
Yeah. And I think this whole hype around live video is just that. It's a hype, right? Like at first it was cool. It's like, oh, whoa, I can tune in. Right. And I can't believe it's like we're Skyping, but we're not Skyping. And, this is totally different. And now I've rarely watched live video streams and say, this is better than something that was, produced for me and is high quality that I would rather, I'd rather have to wait an hour, I guess, to see this well produced.
So, Kurt, I'll disagree with you on that a little bit. I think you're absolutely right. Yes, some of them are boring to watch, right? Like there are a lot of bad scopes and bad live videos out there. But the live streaming is so addictive for both the broadcaster and the viewer because there's that immediacy, there's that reaction to reaction of that there's no time delay, right? So it's completely addicting on both sides of the wall. And then the fact that everybody and their mother is live streaming right now, and a year from now, maybe people are going to be used to it and they won't do it as much. But like any technology, everybody jumps on board, like really, hardcore at the beginning. Everybody uses it to see what it does. And then over time, it will be kind of dedicated to the people who are using it for a purpose. And you will kind of see content curation happening, within the different platforms. And so I don't think that it'll just go away because I think live streaming is here to stay. It started back in 2007 with Quick, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And the technology wasn't there for it to keep continuing, but then we've got now it going really strong technology wise, whatever. And then, it'll just kind of continue to grow in that form. But I don't think that it's just going to kind of dissipate in interest at all.
Well, I agree with Kurt that I feel like hey, everybody, I'm on my phone, let me show you my cat kind of live video is not going to be able to hold people.
Videos. Come on.
But live cats are not as exciting as curated cats. And you said curation, and I think that when you think of something like Twitter Moments, that is a huge difference, right? The idea that especially maybe for breaking news events or sporting events, when people are doing live video and you've got somebody who's actually like switching between them and giving you different perspectives, I think things could get really interesting there. And then the professionals doing it, but just sort of random people showing you things that aren't that interesting. I think people are going to lose their appetite for that. But I think if you put them all together in something like what Twitter is trying to do semi-successfully with Twitter Moments, I think you could get something interesting.
I think
go. I guess real quick, I should clarify. I don't think it's going to disappear, right? I think it's just one of those things that if you hear people talk about it now, it really feels like live is the future, and that all of a sudden, someday we're all going to be broadcasting live all the time, or that's going to be the main way that we consume. I think that it'll be around. I just think that it'll be one of many media types that we use, and it will be a very specific media type, right? Like I may tune in live for I live in San Francisco, there's a parade going on, and I just kind of want to get a feel for like, hey, what's happening at the parade, or what's happening down the street there's a fire, or there's an event of news significance that I want to tune into. I just don't think that it's going to be as big of a mainstream product use case that it seems to be taking off right now.